Hi guys, this is Jadirah. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we'll be talking about the basic makeup brushes. So I got quite a few requests for this video and I decided to film it for you guys before it gets late and you guys get mad at me for not filming it. Yes, I will be filming the foundation video too soon, so watch out for that. But today let's talk about the brushes. So the order of the video will be such that first we'll be talking about base product brushes like foundation brushes, concealer brushes, then we'll move on to blush and contour brushes and cheek brushes in general, and then we'll move on to eye brushes and finally lip brush. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. So first let's talk about foundation brushes. Now the most basic foundation brush out there is basically the flat petal foundation brush of the sort, and this brush is great for product placement, and if you want to lay your foundation down very nicely, it's great. But I wouldn't really recommend this brush if you are looking for a heavier coverage and if you want to really blend in your foundation into your skin. These brushes are great if you want a very sheer coverage and if you're working with liquid foundations. However, if you're working with cream products or powder foundations, I wouldn't really recommend these. So this brings us to our next brush, which is the angled kabuki brush. Now you basically want a dense buffing brush of the sort for your foundation if you're looking for fuller coverage. I personally love this one from Sigma. It's the F84. They have quite a few in different shapes from the same range, so you can check them out. F80 in particular was really popular. The good thing about this brush is that it is really dense, so it is great for buffing and blending the product into your skin. It gives a nice airbrushed coverage and it's basically great if you want to build up coverage. Another tool that we cannot miss while we are talking about face products and base makeup in general is of course the beauty blender or makeup sponges. Now the good thing about a beauty blender is that it is great if you want to layer on product and you don't want it to look cakey. This is great for, you know, blending it all out all together. However, if you use it on its own, it's only good for a sheer coverage, and beauty blenders tend to absorb a lot of product, so you will be wasting a lot of product if you feel that you have to build up the coverage just using this. I wouldn't suggest that. I would suggest that first you use something like this, and if you feel the need that you have to put on more product, then only go in with this. However, this on its own does not really give a cakey finish, and it really depends on your foundation as well. So those are all the foundation brushes covered, and if you have to get one of these, I would suggest you get this one. Now I do have two petal brushes right here. I personally prefer this one from Luscious, but a lot of people don't really like it. This is from Sigma. It's kind of more stiff. I personally don't prefer this brush because it feels kind of prickly to me, which is not the case with this Sigma brush. This is really soft. Even this is soft, but the way the bristles are angled, I just don't like it. I prefer this, but a lot of people don't really like this brush even. So you might like this if you don't like this. Moving on to concealer brushes. Now I personally do not really use a brightening concealer right here. I mean, I don't usually do so, and the reason is that I have dermatitis, so my skin tends to get irritated and blotchy after a while, so I can't really wear base products for a very long time, and I can definitely not cake on products. So that's that. However, if you want to use a concealer brush, you can get something dense like this brush. It's also from Sigma, and this is basically a smaller version of the kabuki brush that I showed you. This is differently shaped. You can get one in this shape, you can get them in different shapes. It's really your choice, whichever you like. But yeah, you can get dense brushes like these, and they're great if you want to build up coverage on a specific spot. This brush is nice for that. There is another sort of concealer brush, which is the flat concealer brush, and you can check out Sigma's F70 or F75 for that purpose. It's nice if you want to do brow cleanups, or if you want to clean up your lip line afterwards if you have messed up and you're wearing a really bright or dark lip. So if you have to buy one, I would actually suggest this one. This is nice for cleanups and really precise cleanups. This is really multi-purpose, and I think for concealers, you can definitely, get away with using your finger or even just, blending it with this. So next comes the powder brush. Super important brush because this is great for setting your overall face makeup, and this one I have here is the large powder brush from Sigma. Now it's great because it's quite fluffy, it's soft, and it's big enough to cover your whole face. So it's really nice to, just blend everything together once you're done with your makeup. Then that brings us to our contouring and contour brush. So there are two contour brushes that I'm showing you guys today. One is from e.l.f. and this is basically the contour brush, which is quite slim and quite dense. So it's great if you are looking for a very defined look. What I would suggest is that you pick little amount of product with this, and then it would be easier for you to blend. However, if you feel that this is a bit too much as a beginner, I would definitely recommend the Sigma's large angled contour brush or any such brush which is shaped like this. Now this again is kind of fluffy, but it's not as fluffy as the powder brush, and it has a nice angle, so it's amazing for putting your contour here precisely, and it's nice for blending it all as well. So even if I go in with this for initially packing on the product, I would always go back in with this brush. You do not need both, and if you have to get one out of these, get this one. Okay, so another contouring brush that I'm showing you today is this one, and it's also basically a large angled contouring brush, but this is a lot fluffier as it has longer bristles, and this is an off-brand brush that I picked up at Nahid. This is great if you want to just lightly bronze your skin, since it's not that stiff and sturdy for precise product placement, but it's nice if you just want to lightly blend everything together. So even if you can't initially invest in a proper angled contour brush, this is nice, and this would do for like a really basic makeup look. Moving on to blushers. Now I personally think that just about any brush would do for blushers. Like even this powder brush is great for blusher. You can use even this for blush. I sometimes use my angled contour brush for blush. This is another Sigma tapered F25 brush, which is again for blusher. It's quite large, but it's really nice for product placement and blending. Another blush brush that I have here, this is actually an off-brand one. It's a knockoff that I picked at again some superstore. However, this is one blush brush that I really like, and this one is from e.l.f. It's a small stipple brush. So these types of brushes are basically great for cream products and cream blushers. It's nice for precise product placement. Moving on to our highlight. Now I don't really have a special brush for highlighting. You can get a fan brush. I don't have one. So what I use instead is any of the blending brushes from Sigma. Sigma has a lot of eye brushes. This one is E25, and I really like it for precise product placement. Again, for highlight, it's really nice for that. You can basically use any small fluffy brush for your highlight. Sigma does do some highlight brushes too, so you can check them out as well, and so do other brands. There are so many types of eye brushes, but honestly, if you're just starting out, you don't need them all. In fact, you would be just fine with like two. There's this one brush which is the Sigma eye shading brush. I really like it for packing on the product on my lid. And then there is this Sigma tapered blending brush, which is just a fluffy tapered brush like the one I just showed you, and this is fluffier than that one, so this would be even better for highlight. However, I personally use this brush for putting the product in my crease, like the transition shades, and then for blending out furthermore eyeshadows in my crease area. This brush is amazing for blending. Anyways, if you are feeling a bit more fancy and if you want to splurge and maybe get a few more brushes, there are two other brushes that I would recommend you to get. One is this small angled brush, which is basically great for eyeliner. This is what I use for my wing liner all the time. I highly recommend this. This is a really nice brush. And another brush, now you don't really need this is really an extra step, but if you want to, you can. This is the pencil brush from Sigma, and it's basically really nice if you want to, you know, smoke out your lower lash line or smudge eyeshadow on your lower lash line. You can use a pencil brush. A pencil brush is also really great for putting highlight in your inner corner. Now moving on to lips. Again, you don't really need a lip brush because you can just do with lip pencils and lip liners, but if you want to, you can use this concealer brush that I showed you earlier, or you can get a small lip lining brush of the sort. Now this particular one is also an eyeliner brush from Sigma, but it can totally be used as a lip brush. I think Sigma does some lip brushes too. Basically you just need a thin brush of the sort for doing your lips, and it's nice if you don't have a matching lip liner. You can always just, you know, trace out your lower lip and upper lip and then fill in the color with your lipstick. So that's all the brushes. Now let's just talk about the brands of the brushes. Let me just tell you a little bit of backstory. So back in the day, MAC was one brand which was quite popular with makeup artists, and even till date there are makeup artists who swear by a particular number of MAC brush. Like 242 is really popular. MAC brushes are like professionally used, but the thing is they're quite expensive and the price range is anywhere between $20 to $40 and even more. And in fact, I was checking MAC's website right before this video, and they actually have most of their brushes priced around the $35 mark, which is quite expensive for one single brush. Just when I started blogging about 5 years ago, and that's when I was really into YouTube as well, I got to know about Sigma, and Sigma basically is supposed to be a dupe for MAC. It has a very extensive range of face brushes and eye brushes, and the price range is anywhere between $15 to $30, and in fact lesser than $30, but they also do lots of sets and stuff like that, so you get to save a lot of money, and they have discounts and stuff. Around the same time, Pixie Boo sisters Sam and Nick launched their own brush line, which was the Real Techniques brushes, and they were really popular back in the day too, and they're still popular. The thing with Real Technique brushes is that they are cheaper in price than Sigma, but they don't really have that great of a range. I mean, you get quite limited amount of brushes, and that's that, but you still do get sets and stuff, so if you want to look into it, you can. I just don't really like the range of eye brushes that they have. Real Techniques brushes are priced between $7 to $10, the original set, and the Bold Metals set, which is supposed to be a tad bit more luxurious, is priced between $15 to $20+, which is similar to Sigma's pricing. Moving on, then came Morphe, which has been popularized again by all the YouTubers, and I think Morphe has some amazing codes and stuff. I personally have not had the chance of trying Morphe. Morphe brushes are priced between $4 to $20. A lot of people swear by it. They say they are now a dupe of Sigma brushes. So that's that. I've not tried the brand myself. And then finally, I'd like to touch upon BH Cosmetic brushes, as you guys asked me for quite a few options. So let me just tell you about BH as well. That BH Cosmetics have brushes ranging from lesser than $3 up to lesser than $7, which I think is amazing. And they have some sets like the Sigma Pebble Bunny kit, which I will show you shortly as well, and those sets basically are priced at around the $15 mark, which again is amazingly cheap. But my only reason for not buying BH Cosmetic brushes is also because the brushes do not seem to be of, you know, like a really good quality, and I think that yes, you can get brushes which are really cheap. Like I showed you so many options for blush brushes, and I think you can get away with using cheaper brushes for powder products, but if you are looking for precise nice brushes for your eye makeup, I would not suggest a brand like, you know, that, or even random brushes that you can find at superstores. So for that, I would definitely suggest a nicer brand. So my story is basically that one of our family friends was visiting from Kuwait, and they asked if we needed anything. I put forward my wish list and ended up asking for 2 Real Techniques brushes. I suppose I don't remember very well because this is 5 years ago, and it turned out that Real Techniques was not available in Kuwait at that time. I'm not sure about now. So they told me to choose another brand, and they basically sent me a website's link. They told me to look up all the brands available and then tell them something from what's available there. So I came across Sigma. Now my reason for not opting for Sigma firsthand was that it did seem expensive to me, and you know, I was like, I might not be able to afford it and I would rather get Real Techniques. But that's the story. They did not have Real Techniques, so I ended up getting Sigma. I had asked for two brushes which were really popular at that time. One was the F80 foundation brush and other one was the angle brush that I used. What basically happened was, since F80 was so popular, even Kuwait was out of it, family friend ended up getting me this F84 brush instead, and they said that this is essentially the same brush as the F80, it just has a different shape, which I think is right because it does work really well. Now this brush particularly was made for, you say, cream contouring and cream products, but it works just as nicely for foundation. So this is my ride or die. I swear by it if I'm not using my beauty blender, that is. I ended up getting this brush with the whole Mr. Bunny treble kit set because they said that this brush was not sold individually, or it was not available as an individual purchase, so they ended up getting me the Sigma Mr. Bunny treble kit, which I think is amazing. This kit basically contains pretty much all the brushes that I just mentioned. I just wish this kit had a separate brush for blusher as well. I am affiliated with Sigma now, but like I mentioned, I got these brushes myself before even I was an affiliate, and I've had these for 5 years straight. They're as good as new. None of them has shed, none of them has a loose ferrule, and none of them has lost its shape. So isn't that great? Now being an affiliate means that I earn a small amount of commission if anybody shops using my referral links, which are always in the description box. So if you want to support me, you can use those links. If you don't want to use the link, that's perfectly fine. That's basically my deal. So even though I'm affiliated, I genuinely love the brand. I did mention all the prices of other brands and everything. You can check them out if you want to. Sigma does ship internationally, and they do offer quite a lot of discounts, and they do offer free shipping, like free worldwide shipping on special occasions. And in fact, they even do so like for flash sales or like a 1-day free worldwide shipping thing, which I'm always updating you guys about on my Twitter and my blog's Facebook page, which is facebook.com/JasmineCatchesButterflies. Elf does some really nice cheap brushes, you can check them out. And I think NYX also has some really nice good face brushes, so again, do check those brands out. I particularly have mostly used Sigma and some of Elf brushes, and I'm happy with whatever I have. My only reason for not getting Morphe as of yet is that I don't feel the need to. I think makeup in general is so expensive, and everything that you have to get shipped from abroad ends up being very, very expensive in Pakistan. So I just don't feel the need to invest in brushes anymore, because whatever I have, I'm pretty happy with that. That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, as it will help me out a lot. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Close till I get up. Time is better.